Welcome to the FaceTime with God podcast. I'm your host, Kay Farrar, and yes, you have tuned in to the right place because we're bringing Christ to the culture and the culture to Christ. Because the gospel's not for old times, it's for all times. So we've got relevant topics, real people, and we're starting right now. So welcome everybody to FaceTime with God podcast. I am so excited because I have my good friend Samuel Hayes III in the house. And so he is the Assistant Vice President, thank you, of Facilities at William and Mary University, which is a big deal. And Sam and I go way back. We go way back to the back of the back. We go way back to the beginning. And so I'm so excited about having you here, Sam. And what we're going to do, we do this a lot. We start off with a little icebreaker, a little kickoff. And we do have some of our team members, and I'm sure you can see them in the shop. And one of the things that we have, I'm going to reach here and get my little paddles. So we have some voting paddles. So I'm going to give you one, and team members, you guys have one. And so, you can give the thumbs up or the thumbs down, the red or the green. And we're just going to do a little bit of rapid response for our icebreaker. So you can vote. And this is just some fun stuff to just, loosen us up before we get into the meat of our topic today, which actually our topic is going to be perfect for Sam because the topic is going to be Black excellence. All right. And we're going to hit a lot of things and learn a lot of things around that. But that is our topic for tonight. But before we get into that, let's just do our icebreaker. So this is going to be a rapid response, and we can just use our voting panels. And what I want you guys to do is just show your answer for each item. I'm going to call out a bunch of items. And just, if it's a good one for you, if you like it, if it's one of your faves, you just give it the green. If not, give it the red. And then maybe at the end, we'll chat a little bit about what your overall favorites are. All right. So you ready? Ready? Rapid response. You guys ready back there? All right. So we're going to start with a really easy one. Are you a morning person morning person or an evening person? Morning. Which one? Red or green for the morning versus the evening? So morning person. Wow. Not a morning person. I am not. So we got 3 not and one morning person. All right. That's another facilities guy. It's good to have a early morning facilities guy. So, all right. Do you like sunrise versus sunset? The sunrise? Who likes the sunrise better? All right, everybody likes the start of a day, the beautiful sunrise. Yeah, that is. I love to go see them at Virginia Beach.
Indeed.
These are cool drinks. So, we're in the South. Sweet tea. Are you a fan of sweet tea? Everybody likes sweet tea. Lemonade. Organic juice. Yeah. With no sugar.
Some of them is good.
Organic, most of them, I'm not gonna lie, unless it's pineapple juice, I'm gonna give it the red on the organic juice. I had to be honest. Fancy water. Yeah, they got us. On the fancy water back there.
Fancy water?
Yeah, you know how you get the.
Yeah.
No. All right, so I'll go for this fancy water all day. All right, here we go. Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola fans. I'm not gonna lie. I'm the only bad one in here. Coca-Cola all day. Right here. Coca-Cola all day. All right, here's a funny one. Tahitian punch.
Oh my God.
Some people don't even know what that is.
Yeah, I know what that is.
Too sweet.
That's that cheap sweet. That's so sweet.
Too sweet.
Oh my gosh. That's Tahitian punch. All right.
It's good.
All right. Okay. This will be our last fun thing. All right. Here we go again. Homemade coffee.
I don't drink coffee.
So yeah, we got to kind of split.
Yeah, I hate coffee.
All right. So that means Starbucks. Are you a Starbucks fan? I'm
So if I went to Starbucks,
don't know.
It's going to be a chai tea latte with oat milk because I'm a tea guy.
Oh, all right. So Sam, look, I want to let's learn a little bit more about you. So let's do it this way. Let's see if we can do a little bit of rapid fire learning about you. Give us your 60-second elevator. Who is Samuel Hayes?
So we're standing in front of the governor's mansion here. This is the oldest occupied governor's mansion in the U.S. And the reason why I wanted to be here is because I'm related to the first governor of Virginia, who was Patrick Henry, as well as the current occupant, which is Glenn Youngkin. So to me, a lot of governors in between.
So I'm going to add spiritual elements to this because that's who I am. So I grew up in Roanoke from a family of three. My parents got divorced when I was 11. That was a good thing, though. And I got baptized when I was at the age of 9. And I can remember this. It was just so impactful. Got baptized, walked back down to get my clothes. And every step I took, all the kids in the world came back to me. Graduated from high school in Roanoke, went to community college. Here's my pen right here today because I'm an alum of Virginia Western Community College. Finished up at ODU, met the love of my life at school. We've been married 36 years as of last month. Wow. Have two daughters. One's 31, one's 34. One lives in the DMV, one lives in London.
Okay.
Right now, like Kim said earlier, I am the Assistant Vice President for Facilities Management at Women Married. I had a stint where I worked with Kim, and she was my boss when I was a state agency head under Governor Kane's administration. And I got licensed to be a minister in 2002.
Wow.
And I have married a few couples, and that's me.
Wow. All right. You did pretty well. That was probably right about the whole 60 seconds. So other than the 60-second elevator speech of who is Sam Hayes, since we're talking about the topic of Black excellence, and we're going to drill down a little bit more about that, kind of a similar thing, if you would, sir. Give me the 60 seconds about your career path. From, if you can do it, from your first job to where you are today. Give us some highlights.
So I often say that I'm an unlikely success. I grew up in some dysfunction as a child and saw God move my life early on and ended up going to community college and graduated, went on to ODU, where I got a degree in civil engineering. I got out and my first job was at VDOT up in Northern Virginia. And that parlayed me eventually into being in charge of all road maintenance for the whole county. So here I was, 26 years old, a $41 million budget and 200 employees. And from there, I moved to Richmond, where I worked for the Toll Authority. And then I eventually moved back home to Roanoke and spent 10 years. And then I came back. I was in charge of procurement for the Department of Health. And then eventually I was appointed by the governor to be the director of the Department of Minority Business Enterprise, which is now the Department of Small Business and Supply Diversity.
Worked 6 months into the McDonald administration, went to work at the Federal Reserve Bank, sustained a layoff. And then from there, I was 6 years without a full-time job. But in that period of time, went to work for my brother-in-law, who was the only Black-owned meat processing plant in Virginia. And his biggest client is Cisco. We do stuff. We do beef and pork products that are sold to the Navy.
Wow.
And after that, I got my job working at Women Married, and here we are today.
Wow. Wow. So you said you and your brother-in-law, what was that plant again?
His plant is called Miller Meats. And the thing about my brother-in-law is that he told me, so he was in our wedding. And so at the age of 19, he went to work at the meat processing plant. In 24, he said, I'm going to own this place. And I looked at him and said, yeah, right, Nick.
Wow.
And then 10 years later, he said, they're going to give me 5% ownership. And they lied. I said, you need to quit. They don't deserve it. He said, how can I going to quit when I'm going to own it? So 8 years ago, he brought it.
What?
He brought it. So
what?
Yes, it's a multi-million-dollar business, and it's based 2 blocks from Newport News Shipbuilding. And so I had the privilege of being his business development director for 5 years. Wow. So I got him in Virginia Business. I got him in Black Enterprise Online. I got him on television down there. I got him in the newspaper.
Wow.
So so that's what we do. So we just now opened up. We have the plant and now 3 retail stores. We just opened up a new one last week over in Uptown Newport News.
So your retail stores.
It's called Uncle Nick's Premium Meats.
And you sell ham?
We sell anything that looks like meat. Well,
Wow.
so the stuff that we produce in the plant, we sell. We also sell seafood, poultry, and everything. And so what he does is he gets these price points. And so if something gets to be too expensive, we don't sell it anymore until we can get another price point. Because the whole deal is to try to give people wholesale at a retail value.
Wow. Multi-million-dollar business. I mean, there's so much that we could talk about as it relates to that.
Yes.
Seriously. My goodness. So when he first started there, what was his role?
He was packing boxes.
I mean, you guys, like, this is like a pause-worthy moment. Like, seriously. So, and he was how old?
19.
He was 19 years old, packing boxes. And he said, I'm going to own this company.
When he's 24. He said by 24, I'm going to own it. I'm like,
oh, he said by 24.
He said at 24, he's going to own it. I looked at him like he's crazy. I said, okay, Nick. And that's what I said because I just couldn't see it.
Wow.
And then when they reneged on the deal, and the crazy thing is, and so when the owner had an altercation with the other owner, and he brought that person out. And then then Nick said, hey, won't you let me buy it with the proceeds? He says, no, I'm too old. I'm going to sell it. So when he sold it, the broker came in and says, why aren't you buying this plant, Nick? And then he said, well, he won't let me buy it. He said, you know what? I know a bank to get you an SBA loan in California. This will make it happen. And that's what happened. Okay.
And see, you guys, I know some of this is just so much to really dig into, even like, because we could almost spend an hour just really breaking that whole thing apart. Because one of the things, Sam, that, I'm about, right, is, and even with this ministry, so, I have started, and next month it'll be a year that I first got papers as K4R Ministries, right? And this is the first endeavor that we've done, starting this podcast. I started doing online Bible studies, and also now we've started the podcast, just sort of getting some momentum, getting things moving. But the whole thing is, when I look at, right, my community, where I grew up, the Black community in the inner city, and I see the way many people live, not everybody, but the way many people are living in the inner city from my community that are kind of separated from the upper echelon, separated from the higher socioeconomic ranges. You know what I mean?
I do.
And what is that gap, and how do we bridge that gap? And to be honest, I believe what you just said is the biggest way to bridge the gap. First of all, we got to know who we are in Christ.
Amen.
And then from there, we can have the mentality that, I can own this place. And you guys, if the podcast that we have coming out tonight in about 45 minutes, one of the things that guest said, Pastor William Darracott, is he shared his story. And it's kind of linked in, isn't it? It's kind of interesting because with his story, one of the things he shared was that he and his wife and their special needs child that had cerebral palsy were living in a 1-bedroom efficiency apartment, right? And honestly, see, this is my backstory to what he said, you guys. But while they were in that 1-bedroom efficiency, his wife started drawing up plans for $1 million home. They were on welfare at the time when she started drawing up those plans. What would make you do that? What would make you think that you could accomplish that when you're on welfare in a 1-bedroom home? He said his daughter was sleeping in the drawer. I don't know if you guys have ever even heard of that. I think they put me in a drawer too. That was something Black folks did. When you didn't have a crib, you would pull out the dresser drawer and you would line it. And you would put the baby in there. I don't know. Look, we made to use the paddle. Has anybody on the team ever heard of that before? Okay, yeah. They put me. They put us in one. Sometimes they would do it when they traveled, or if they, had the baby and they didn't have the crib yet, or what have you. Yeah, because it was safe. And they would line it. But my point is the mindset to believe for something greater when you're surrounded by everything that's less than, right? And I believe, and we're going to have to ask Pastor Derricott, but I believe that mindset came from the word they were receiving at our ministry. Because, they talked about the church, and that's the kind of word we preach, right? Your mind can be renewed. So what is it? What do you think where did your brother-in-law get that from to believe that he could own a multi-million-dollar plant when he was packing boxes? We're talking about Black excellence, by the way.
So Nick is an interesting person. So Jerry's story. So Jerry's mother's a white lady from England. Her dad was in the military. So her parents got married in the 50s.
Okay.
So wow. Nick's the youngest of 6 kids.
Wow.
And he's always been different. Nick's licensed too. So sometimes we even tag team minister together. And it's really cool.
So he's a minister.
He's a minister as well. But he's got this thing where he believes God beyond craziness. And I just seen him he would do stuff like walk into, so he owns like 8 houses.
Okay.
And so we go to an appliance store and he'll see somebody in line. He's like, okay, I'm taking that. So the woman had an $800 washing machine she was trying to buy. He said, I got that. Or
Paul, y'all know I have to do this so we can understand. Because see, at first I was wondering what you were saying, but now we all get what he just said, right? In other words, he's paying for the lady's $800 washing machine for her. So he's a big, ridiculous giver.
He is. He'll go into a 7-Eleven. He might be deep, 8 people deep, and he said, I got everybody up front. And so one time we went to this restaurant, and this woman was rude to us. Because what he was doing, he was buying cars for his employees, and then he would charge them like $100 a week, no interest, no anything, till they paid it off. So at this one time, he got this $100 payment. So we went to this restaurant. The lady was very rude to us. She said, watch this. So he says, can I have the bill, please? He says, yes. He said, here's your tip. It's $100. She broke down crying. She says, oh my God, you don't know. I didn't have rent money. This right here is going to pay. I mean, I've seen this stuff happen more than once with this guy.
Wow.
And so sometimes we will get into competition where we were at this restaurant once. And so
that's a nice competition.
We were up and each other about who will get the biggest tip.
Wow.
So when you're around this guy, money, I mean, he's given us probably 4 cars. When I got my job at Women Mary, I had no car to get to work. Right. He gave me a car to get back and forth from here in Richmond.
Isn't this something, you guys?
Yeah. He's just like that.
Yeah.
And Jerry's his favorite sister, so that...
Look, they help.
I told him, I said, this ain't about me, it's about your sister. It's not about me.
Wow. But you say, so he's been like that all his life. But that being a ridiculous giver is a big takeaway.
Oh my gosh, it's insane the way he doesn't care about money. And God just... I mean, he went through a really severe health change. We thought we were going to lose him this time last year. Because Jerry had lost 2 sisters. And then we thought we might lose him too. And God brought him through. I mean, his miraculously coming back to life, because they thought he was going to die. The doctor said, if you don't get this operation, you're going to die. And then when they came in the next day, they were looking to see if he was dead. And he was still alive. And see, God brought him back. Wow. It's amazing.
Isn't that something? It's so over the top. But these things are real. God is real.
Indeed.
There is nothing that he cannot do, that he won't do.
Amen.
But we have to get to that point of faith. The kind of faith that it doesn't matter what happens, because what you believe is not going to change. Like, that dogmatic faith that I'm a hold on to it regardless type faith.
That's something, I mentioned that when I was a kid, I grew up in a 900 square foot house.
Okay. Wow.
And my mother, I can tell you, it was 900 square foot, and you could touch the walls like that because it was so small. Wow. And my mother said you can live how you want to live. And so I remember once we came back here and we didn't buy a house initially because it was so expensive. So then we started looking at houses, and then we live in Short Pump. And so we saw this house, and Jerry said, we can't buy no house because we don't have any money for down payment and closing. I said, well, just look at this one house. It's a foreclosure. We go in that house. The house has right at 4,000 square feet. We put our bid in, they rejected it. So fine, when you're ready to talk, we'll do it. The bank. They came back. We got the house. They paid the closing. All we had to do was have our down payment. We've been in that house 13 years.
So with that, everything on paper said you would not have been able to get that
No,
house.
I would never.
But you went there anyway, and you got the house.
Yes.
And I have heard that more than once, you guys. So this is for everybody on this team, and this is for everybody listening who desires something that on paper, doesn't make sense that you can have it, but you can't.
And you said about Black excellence. One thing about us, my mother always told me, don't mess up your credit. So we always have been diligent about making sure we pay our bills on time, we pay our taxes, and we keep our credit where it needs to be.
Yes.
And so those are the things. My mom had me at 5 years old paying bills. I'm like, is she too lazy to go out and pay this bill? But she said to us, no, I want you to know how much things cost. I knew what the electric bill cost. I knew what the gas bill cost. Because she would drop us by and we go in and pay them. And so I knew how much money they made. And so as a kid, we got allowances. I mean, it was like my mom gave us a lesson in excellence and how not to be slothful.
Wow.
From a child growing up.
All right.
She had me at 19 years old, my sister at 20.
Wow. So let's talk about that a little bit more. All right. How about on the credit thing? So in your household, was there any credit at all, or absolutely no credit, or, you have some credit, but you manage it? How did that work?
In my house growing up?
Yeah.
Oh, no, we had credit, but everything was paid on time.
Okay. Made sure you pay it on time. How about now? Because a lot of people say, I don't do any credit at all. Do you use credit cards and just make sure you manage it and pay them off? Or you just pretty much, I'm not seeing anybody's credit card?
No. So basically, funny thing is when Jerry and I first got married, we had separate bank accounts and I was always broke. And so
that's why she had to say
so
she's like, yeah, I need my own account.
So she is an accountant by training. And so basically I said, okay, how about this?
That's icing on the cake right
Let's
there.
let's put it all together and then you manage our finances. So for 36 years, she's managed our finances.
Okay.
And she's diligent about making sure our bills are paid and making sure that if we do have things that need to be dealt with, she's not the kind of person that makes a lot of that herself. She's just like, okay, I'm going to get this. I'm not going to get this. So basically, it's our daughters that she really cares the most about. Like she'll get them stuff. But other than that, we have credit, but we don't have a lot of credit. We've always lived below our means.
Right. That's awesome.
Always. Even when I lost my job, I just got picked up with Nick and I worked with him and that was enough to keep the house payment going. And then she had the rest of it because we never had a lot of debt. Because I remember as a child, my parents got divorced. My dad didn't pay the bills. They came in August and took the AC out the house. They took the TV out the house. I said, that is never going to happen to me.
Wait a minute. Okay, say this again. So when you were growing up?
When I grew up, my parents got divorced. It was in summertime. My dad did not pay any bill. They were going to put us out the house.
Okay.
They came in. They were going to take the carpet off the floor. And I remember this as an 11-year-old child, like this is not going to happen to me when I grow up. Because it was traumatized. Because I remember in Roanoke, it's so hot that I remember we had a fan going, one of them whole house fans, and it'd be like 5 o'clock in the morning, you are sweating and your little t-shirt is tied to your body, and then it gets cooler there. And I remember that this is never going to happen growing up.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, so what are you seeing now, generally speaking, in our communities now? Do you feel like that is what most people believe, or is that how most people are living, or are we so far removed from that right now?
I think I mentor, and one of the things that I noticed about a lot of the people in our community, and I'll just say us, is that we will gravitate toward the Jordans or whatever, the latest trends or the nails or whatever, and then we don't look at things that have value like a house, because cars, of course, they depreciate, but I see too much consumerism where we have to have the latest and greatest thing, not thinking about the future. And I think a part of it is that parents aren't raising kids anymore. Like my mom used to get on my nerve because she was like, talk. We didn't get hit.
Mm-hmm.
She would lecture us. I'm like, oh my God, this woman is talking too much. But
yeah, sometimes at lectures, honestly, you'd be like, just spank me, please.
no, she said when I was 8 years old, she told me, she said, 8, she says, I'm not spanking you. If you can't deal with what I say, you got 3 ways out of here. And there's 3 doors in the house. And so
they would tell you that type of thing too?
She said it to us. And so we didn't get hit. My brother and I didn't get one spanking. Raising our kids, I think I gave one daughter maybe 2 and one daughter maybe 1 because I think it don't take all of that. It was like the conversation and setting. One thing about my mom, I'll give her this. She was always consistent. When she said no to something, that was it. Wasn't no go back behind it. And she said, I said, what did I say? And then she would always never lie to us. Like, Mom, can we have this? Well, we have to see. And it was never, she says, nothing worse than lying to a child. So as a kid, I had that consistency. And I believe that because she exposed us to bills, exposed us to how to handle money, that as an adult, I never had those issues.
Yeah, and that is a message that we really need, and it's perfect for this topic of Black excellence